Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Fantastic. And welcome to our webinar this afternoon on looking at Amazon through the eyes of the consumers. So at Retail Doctor Group, we have done some research to truly understand what was the customer's perception of Amazon pre-launch, what was the customer's perception post-launch, also what did retailers think, and what happened with the launch of Amazon late 2017. So I'm going to talk you through a little bit of information, a bit of background on Amazon to begin with. And then I'm going to talk you through this consumer research that we did. So just a bit of background on us, Retail Doctor Group. We are consumer and retail experts. We are consultants. We work through consumer insights, business insights, into strategy, into hands-on implementation, specifically for retailers. So just a bit of a background. So retail very much has been disrupted at the moment. Things are definitely changing. Some big players are entering the market, Uber, Amazon, Airbnb, and it's changing what customers are wanting and very much changing the way that customers interact with retailers. So very much change is in the air for retail. And what can we as retailers do to fully understand this? And one of the key things is really truly understanding our customers and consumers is at the key. What do they want? What are they telling us? So let's talk a little bit about Amazon. So Amazon has definitely had a large effect throughout the world. As we can see, it's one of the fastest ever companies to reach 1 billion in sales. What I think is really interesting here is that 54% of US households have Amazon Prime. So that's 1 in 2 people in America have Amazon Prime. So it's got a very large influence. And with the launch of Prime in Australia, is this what we are going to be looking towards? So what can we learn from what's happening in America? What we're also seeing across the water is that 52% of all internet searches for online shopping actually go through Amazon rather than Google now. So when people are shopping, when they're looking for a retail product, they are looking through Amazon as their first point of call. So again, this is very much changing the way that consumers are behaving. One of the things I always like to laugh about is Amazon now bought Whole Foods. So they are now moving into the physical retail space. So we're seeing that with the purchase of Whole Foods in America. We're seeing that with a few other stores that are opening, Whole Foods in England now. So again, what can we expect in Australia? We just have a quick look at the Australian retail sector. So what we can see, it's been very positive throughout all sectors. What we're seeing very much is a change with an increased cafes, takeaway food, very much around this experiential retailing is where we're seeing key growth segments. So the way customers behave and what they look for in their retailer is changing. We're seeing this 24-hour consumer. So our consumers are looking for the products that they want in the right places at the right time for them. So they want everything when they want it. Very much, they want to know a lot more about the brands. So brands are very much now needing to share more, need to create this customer ecosystem, this customer journey, be part of their customers' lives. And we're also seeing this attention economy that there's very much, I need the right product at the right time for me. If you make it difficult for me to shop with you, I am not interested. So make my life easier. Now, this is not just looking at the consumer research that we do, and this very much sounds like particular segments, but we're seeing this across all consumer segments now. Very much, how can you make my life easier? How can you make it simple? Make it easy for me to shop with you. So then let's talk a bit about Amazon. So when they launched late December last year, 2017, there was a massive media hype. Amazon's going to end retail. It's going to be the end of the world. Very much a lot of information coming out. But what happened? So let's just have a quick look at the background. So December 2017, Amazon launched, very much a soft launch in Australia. A lot of media information, as we'll come to on the consumer research later. In February, they launched their unlimited music, followed by Amazon Alexa, which is their artificial intelligence. Amazon Prime then launched in June, which was at $4.99 a month. So, as probably most people in the room, very much one of their lowest monthly fees for Amazon throughout the world. I think we compare this to about $10 or $12 in America and even higher in the UK. Then a bit of a strategic move in July. They closed Amazon.com to Australian residents. So several speculations about why this was GST related. Very much a strategic move, and we can see in the consumer insight this is definitely pushing traffic, as you'd expect, towards the Australian website. And then Amazon Prime Day launched, first launch in Australia for Amazon Prime Day. It was considered by Amazon one of their most successful launches that they've ever had for Prime Day. So whilst the media reports were definitely, there was not as many options for Australian consumers, it was still considered very much a success from Amazon's side. And then we can see that they opened up their second warehouse, or sorry, one of their other warehouses in Sydney, showing that they were definitely here to stay. So one of their largest warehouses opened in August. So we're just going to have a little look at what happens on a country by country. So as we can see, the flag planting for Amazon takes a few years. So we would expect the Australian market to behave somewhere similar to the Canadian market. So we expect the flag planting to take anywhere up to 4 or 5 years. But what we can see that in the last sort of 9 or 10 months, there has been significant increases. And again, when we soon step onto the consumer behaviours, we can see how this is changing the way that consumers shop already. And we're only 9 months into their journey. So just again, a bit more information on Amazon. What have we seen in America and around the world that we may expect in Australia? So Amazon.com, we've got bookshops, physical bookshops in America, very much this retail ecosystem. You can go into the store, they will show you the most popular books from their website. You will be able to buy at the same prices that you can buy online and receive it there and then, or very much have it delivered to your house and order it in store. We've got Amazon Alexa or Amazon Echo, which is their artificial intelligence. And if anyone's watching The Block at the moment, we're very much seeing that they're promoting Amazon Alexa as a way, integrating into your house, building it into the operating system. She can switch your lights on, she can order your shopping, she knows when you've run out of toilet roll and she'll reorder it for you. So all very getting this Amazon as part of the customer's everyday behaviour, getting them within your household. Amazon Fresh came about with the purchase of Whole Foods in America. So this is Amazon taking on fresh food delivery, so rivaling potentially the Woolworths and Coles home delivery. And the Amazon Dash button that I find is fantastic is it's a little button that you stick on for particular products. So I always joke in my household this would be Diet Coke because I'm not allowed to drink it, and you stick this on the fridge. When you run out of Diet Coke, you press the button and Amazon automatically delivers. So quite a few innovations there that we're seeing coming through. Amazon Go is a big technological innovation that it's Amazon's technology, and this is the grab and go shopping. So this is the cashierless shops that they've now launched in America, in Seattle, and I believe they've now got a couple more that have just opened using facial recognition. It recognises you as you walk into the store, you pick up what you need and you just walk out. So these new technologies changing the way we behave very much make it easier to shop with me. How do we make customers' lives easier? this was very interesting. This is showing how Amazon Prime is integrating in the physical store. So recently on a trip to the UK, I was walking down the high street, saw these Amazon Prime member deals. So walking past a Whole Foods, if you're part of the Amazon Prime community, you can get 50% off your strawberries, cream, cheese and champagne. It couldn't be any more British. But as we can see, this is getting people to join the Prime community by these very special offers, and now they can integrate with the physical store. They also had, as part of the store, you walk in and you've got your Amazon pickup lockers, so you can order anything and pick it up there while you do your shopping. You've got your Amazon Fresh, so therefore you could have it delivered to your house. And what I also find was quite interesting is I was there for Prime Day, and we could see that it had special offers specifically for Prime. And this is what I thought was hilarious. Specifically for Prime members, you can go to the ball pit for adults, glitter artists. It's very much creating this Prime community, making everyone want to be part of this community. So just a quick recap for those that are still not too sure. So what is Prime? Prime offering is very different in every country. So what have they brought to Australia? Well, we've got unlimited books, unlimited TV streaming, unlimited deliveries and special offers. So you get special offers if you're a Prime member. So that was what we saw, the 50% off champagne and strawberries. Unlimited games and in-game purchases. So this is very interesting and very new. And utilising Alexa, so the artificial intelligence, she can predict what you want. She can create your orders for you without you having to tell her. You can run out of milk. Hey, Alexa, buy me some milk. And then we've got to remember all of this at the moment, currently at $4.99 a month. So when you compare it to the likes of Netflix, which is currently $12.99 a month, and all you will get is the TV. So for $4.99 a month, you're getting all of this functionality. So Amazon have definitely come in, all guns are blazing, with a really strong offer to get people into their community. Again, make my life simple. And I think there's been a lot of media coverage about the pros and the cons of the Amazon launch in Australia. And I think one of the key things that was definitely a point of contention was the delivery. 2-day delivery. It's nothing out of the ordinary. But what we do see is when we look back at when they've launched in every other country, this is their standard model. So Amazon have got this standard approach. We will launch without 2-day delivery. So I'm going to talk you through some consumer research that we did, and we reached out to both consumers and retailers pre-launch of Amazon. So this was in August 2017. And then we reached out again to understand how it's changed behaviour post-launch, so we can really understand what were our customers going to do, what have they done, how has this changed the way that they shop. Now, if at any point anyone's got any questions, feel free to put the questions through. I'll be opening up to questions at the end, or if they pop in, happy to answer them as we go along. So just a quick background in our research. We reached out to 1,000 Australian consumers, both pre and post, and this was a representative sample of the Australian population in terms of age, gender, location. And we also reached out to almost 200 retailers to understand how they thought their customers would react. So pre-launch, what did we actually see? So a very large awareness of Amazon, with 37% of Australians currently shopping at Amazon, so a very high base, and 18% using Amazon regularly. We also saw that 2 in 3 stated they were likely to shop at Amazon. So again, fairly strong positive positioning for Amazon pre-launch. But when we asked retailers the same question, we saw that 97% of retailers expected their customers to start shopping at Amazon. So when we compare this to what consumers are telling us, we have a very much of a gap here. So retailers are expecting that everyone is going to abandon ship and move to Amazon, whereas only 22% of customers said yes and definitely, 39% not sure, possibly. So again, there's this panic that's created, but it's not based on consumer knowledge, I think is very key. So what did our customers and retailers say they were going to do? So our customers, 70% said it will change the way I shop, with around 40% saying that they're going to shop less, spend less at their current retailers. But what we can see is retailers themselves were very much over emphasizing this and not lining up with what customer behavior was going to be telling them. So we can see that a big 74% of retailers were predicting that their customers would spend less. So that is a large proportion of customers that are going to leave and go to Amazon, so it seems. So there was very much this retailer panic, this retailer worry, very much backed up by a lot of media. And we can see it's really not lining up to what customers are saying that they were going to do. So I think what was really key learning for me here was that we really need to listen to our customers. We can't base our assumptions on boardroom. We can't base our assumptions on our internal thoughts. I think it's really understanding what are your customers telling you, what do your customers want, and basing our decisions on that. So I think just a couple of little examples that I wanted to throw in here. A woodworking company, woodworking retailer, went out to their customers and to the general population and said, what do you think of woodworking? And 63% of the general population said, yeah, I definitely think it's a hobby that anybody can do, just a lot higher than they're expecting. But the barriers are, I just don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. So what did the retailer take from this? Well, I said, okay, so we have got potential customers out there. They just don't know what to do. Well, let's teach them. So created classes, created an environment where potential customers could learn to use the tools and therefore become part of this retailer's community, and increase the number of customers, increase the sales. So by listening to what their customers were telling them, they could change the way that they behaved. Another one is a cycle brand. How do we engage more customers? So listening to our customers by understanding what are they looking for this outdoor environment, looking to be part of a tribe. So changing very small tweaks, understanding the brand name, My Ride. So Bikes for Life, very much a new store concept. We walk in the store, we can see the bikes in the environment, we can imagine how we would utilize them. So again, from listening to the customers, what do they want in a bike store? So let's now have a quick look at what's happening post-launch. So we can see that education is up as we would expect. Amazon has come out with a very large amount of marketing. And we can see that 30% of Australians have now shopped on Amazon Australia. So 1 in 3 customers have now shopped on Amazon Australia. And how has this affected their shopping behaviours? So again, we're looking at 25% have spent less with current retailers. So again, nowhere near as close as to what retailers were predicting pre-launch. But we can see fairly consistent spread from what our customers were saying. But we've still got 70% that have not shopped on Amazon yet. What else did we see? Well, customer perception of Amazon took a drop in a couple of areas. We saw that value for money was definitely something that dropped. So customers were less relating Amazon to value for money. And reliability and quality. So again, very key issues here, took a drop. Now, we can speculate as to why this occurred. Was it media? Was it experience? Was it teething problems? I think it will be very interesting to see how Amazon try and rectify this in the upcoming months. So what does this tell us? That customers that are going to shop with Amazon, what are they looking for? Wide range, value for money, convenience, fast delivery, efficiency, reliability. So as a retailer, are you competing in these key areas? Therefore, are you in direct competition to Amazon? Or what is your point of difference? Understanding what are your key areas, why do customers come to you? one thing, another question that we asked was customer trust. So do you think Amazon is a brand that customers can trust? So we can see that it was definitely a drop post-launch, from 58% of customers saying they trusted Amazon, dropping to 49%. But again, there's a very much a wariness around the brand. And then when we ask the question, why do you not trust Amazon? 38% they are new to Australia, so very much we trust retailers that we are aware of, that we've had experience with. 29% just have a bad feeling. So I think this is quite interesting. It's just a gut feeling. How do we get away from that? Media coverage was very interesting. So the media coverage had a large effect on customers for not trusting the brand. I think this was one of the key learnings here, that this has had a very high effect on what our customers are thinking. So as a retailer, I think this is one of the key aspects. Do customers trust you? And how can you build this trust? What do you need to look at to build your customer loyalty and to build their trust in your brand? This is some quite interesting questions. So we really wanted to understand the knowledge of Amazon, so customers' knowledge of Amazon. And as we look back on, Amazon Prime is very much the figurehead for Amazon. It's their way to engage customers and to get them to become part of the Amazon community. Once they are in the Amazon community, they can direct offers to them, they can understand their data and very much learn a lot about their customers. So getting customers into Amazon Prime as subscribers is a very key part to the Amazon strategy. But as we can see, as of April, still a very large confusion about what Amazon Prime actually is. 41% of customers still very unsure about what the offer is, don't really understand. And then again, a mix of all the other aspects, but still no real strong correlation as to what they're actually getting for their money. And then we also asked the question, who is Amazon Alexa? The answer, which I thought was great, 4% thought that she's a celebrity, but still a very large 40% never heard of Alexa. So this was post the launch of Alexa. So Alexa launched in February. We did the research in April. So there was a strong advertising campaign, TVs, bus shelters, with all the big retailers selling Alexa and Echo. So I thought it was quite interesting to see that even then, still 40% had not heard of Alexa. We then looked at the different categories to really understand which categories were coming up strong. So we would expect books, electronics to be strong categories for Amazon, as they always have been. I think one thing that was very interesting from this research showed us that clothing, accessories and toys were also coming up as very strong categories that initially we would not have thought Amazon would play in. When we look at pre-launch, particularly in clothing and accessories, there was a very low awareness that this is what Amazon were going to sell pre-launch. But what we can see is post-launch, there was a very high usage. So 65% said that they have bought clothing through Amazon, whereas pre-launch, this was 37% would consider. This is a very high impact. So again, this is showing that there's retail categories that we would not be expecting them to play in, but they are going after those segments. So when we spoke to retailers, what did we understand that from the retailers? So we saw 56% of retailers have changed the way that they work. So we'll go into a bit more detail into that in a second. 44% have considered joining the Amazon Marketplace. So this is a marketplace where, as a retailer, you can join and resell your products through Amazon. And 15% have said they have noticed an impact. So they have seen a change on some aspect of their business which they directly relate to Amazon. So let's have a look at that to begin with. 15% have seen an impact. So what have we seen? 8% said a decrease in bricks and mortar sales. So if you remember pre-launch, we were expecting a big change. So 8%, much smaller than we would have expected. What I thought was very interesting here was 4% had seen an increase in online purchase. So while this is very small numbers to begin with, what we're seeing is this increase in the way customers shop, the increase in them going online to make their purchases. So this is obviously benefiting retailers. And if retailers are set up with the right ecosystem, then we are seeing that this can be of a benefit. So really thinking about our customer journey is key here. Thinking about all the different aspects of how your customer touches your brand and your store. Understanding where your customer wants to interact with you, because not every customer will want to interact at every touch point with your store. Some customers may want to interact through Instagram, whereas for your business, it may be purely a desktop website. So I think it's really understanding the customer journey and have you got your best foot forward at all customer touch points. So looking at all aspects from how do the customers first become aware of your brand? How do they research about you? How do they purchase? And then right through to how do you then fulfill, and how do we keep them in our brand? How do we keep them loyal? How do we get them to come back to us? So I think really understanding all of these different channels and where do your customers want to interact with you on all these different channels. Let me just go back to that quickly. One thing I think we've got to remember is that we don't need to be everything to everybody. We don't need to be on every single platform that exists. And I think some retailers do definitely make the mistake of trying to be everything. And I think this can therefore then damage our offering as a whole. We might not need to be on Facebook. We might not need to have these different presences. So fully understanding how your customers want to interact with you is the first step. So a couple of business fitness tips that we've learned so far from the Amazon research. Dial up the in-store experience. So what we're now seeing very much is this change in customer behaviour. There's two aspects. They're either looking for transactional retail, very much in the area that Amazon are playing in. And if they're not on the transactional level, we're looking for this experience. We're seeing very much more customers leaning towards experiential retail. So as a retailer, it's first understanding where do you sit on this spectrum? What retailer are you going to be? And therefore, are we experiential, and really understanding what experience do our customers want? How can we emotionalize our brand? Because by doing this, this is how we can connect to customers on an emotional level. So customers make a decision 5 times emotional versus their rational. So therefore, how do we connect to customers on the emotional level to make them come back to our stores and to build this connection? We've talked about the retail ecosystem, so understanding your customer journey. And how do we increase customer personalization? How do we make it easier to understand what our customers want, how they can have what they need? Now, this doesn't mean going into deep data. It can be very small tweaks and aspects to really help understand. So again, this is very much a couple of examples from around the world of showing how we can do small tweaks to the retail environment to really look at what our customers are wanting. So this is the Adidas Innovation Lab. The whole store can be moved. It can be changed to whatever the situation is at the time. A great example is in Sydney. They've got in the Nike store, they can move the store around and it becomes a basketball court. So it's how we can change the store to what our customer is wanting at the time. So being really clever with the store layout and fit out. This is a great example of personalization, and it was done by Converse, but again, any retailer could be doing this. Personalizing our trainers. They're very much in the back of the store. They've got an area where you can pick what you want to put on your trainers. Great brand awareness. But again, doesn't have to be a big brand. This could have been a smaller retailer making it personal for their customers. So going back to the research, another question, how have retailers made changes? So 56% said, I have changed the way I work because of Amazon, and directly related it. So 25% have changed the in-store experience. So Amazon very much online transactional. So how can we change our in-store experience to make customers want to come in the shop? This makes us stand out from Amazon. Improving their online offerings. Amazon is changing the way customers behave, making them go online. So by having our strong online offering, driving traffic to our website. The one thing I thought was very interesting with these numbers was that strategy development has increased. And I think this is fantastic. This is a really positive that's coming out of such a big retailer coming in, that retailers are now thinking about their strategy, where they want to be, and what can they do to achieve this, rather than just staying where we are. So I think in general, this is going to be some big changes for Australian retail as a whole. So what we saw is when disruptors, as we would call them, so Amazon, Uber, they come in, they've got a gap. They look at the customers and see where the gap is. And from what Amazon have looked at, they're making life easier. They're offering cheaper products, making it easier and more readily available. So they've come in trying to conquer this gap. But one thing that we've seen from the research is that customers are still very confused. Amazon have tried to come in to be everything to everyone and almost launched with everything at the same time. That has caused this confusion. Retailers are not, customers are not too sure what they are going to get from Amazon. And we can see here some customers are expecting it to be to save money, experience, innovative, convenience, products, fast delivery. So again, there's no clear standout point of difference here. So this brings us to a couple more business fitness tips. So what is your point of difference? In order to compete, I think it's very important for retailers to understand what is your point of difference as a retailer. Fulfillment. So customers expect everything and they expect it immediately. So I think there is now no room for retailers to not be able to fulfill their orders. And then what we do past that, so transparent delivery systems, how do we get our products to customers quicker and easier? How do we make it easier for them to interact with us? And that kind of leads me into the next one, simplifying the order process as well. Again, make it easier for our customers to shop with us. Building a database. Now, this to me seems like very much retail 101, but it's very surprising how many retailers that we work with that do not have databases or have very low databases that don't really get utilized. And I think this is very key because having a database allows you to understand your customers, allows you to listen to your customers and communicate with them. So I think, excuse me, developing this customer database that you can utilize is a really strong tool for you to connect with your customers. And then from there, build your community. Because once you've got your community of customers, you can build this customer loyalty, this customer advocacy. We're seeing more and more so now that word of mouth, customer reviews is so important to build brand trust. So by building your community of customers, you can build this loyal following. How can we add value? So I think, again, all retailers now are seeing, what else can I give to my customer to make their life easier? So we're seeing this with Amazon in their click and collect options. So what value add can we add for our customers? We touched on customer trust. So how can we build this trust? Looking at price guarantees as well, warranties, particularly if we're playing in the same space of Amazon. So our customers are expecting value, quality, very transactional. So how can we build in this price guarantee? How can we focus on quality as well? Because I think, as we've seen from the research, this is a very key issue for Amazon, that customers were expecting this high level of quality and it just was not delivered. So just coming to the conclusion, Great quote from Bill Gates: we always overestimate the change that will occur in the next 2 years and underestimate the change that will occur in the next 10. So don't let yourself be lulled into inaction. So while there's been a lot of media coming about saying Amazon's launch has been very slow, not been as expected, and almost we can all breathe a sigh of relief now, it's not going to be what we expect, we can see from the data that customers, 1 in 3 customers, are shopping on Amazon Australia. Customers are listening to what has happened, and they are changing the way that they behave. So I think as retailers, we can't let ourselves sit back and relax. We've always got to be thinking about what can we do to compete. And it doesn't need to be on the large scale of Amazon. It can be understanding what are we good at, and let's make it great. Let's make ourselves be known for that. Listening to our consumers, how can we talk to them and understand what do they actually want from me and how can I deliver that? So just a few conclusions to finish. Have a look at your customer touch points. At what point do they interact with your brand? How do they want to interact with your brand at all points across the customer journey? Listen to your customers rather than just company concerns. So what we saw with this research, that retailers' thoughts on what would happen and what customers were telling us they were going to do were very, very different. So I think it's really important to talk to your customers, not just board members. Looking at how we can predict customer behaviour. So within RDG, we look at personality profiling and understanding why customers behave the way they do. So I think it's really understanding who is your customer and why do they behave like that. Identifying your brand strengths. And this was very important. What are we good at? Let's not try and be everything to everybody. What are we good at and what do our customers want us to be? Understand the desired in-store experience. So I touched on this before. At what point in the transactional to experiential retail do you sit? Are you going to be an experiential retailer, or are you playing very much at the other end on transactional, or somewhere in between? And therefore, what sort of retail ecosystem do you need? And understand how you can build customer trust, because this is very important. As we've seen, the customer trust with Amazon is still quite low, as they are just a developing business. So can current retailers take advantage of that? Can we really build our trust, so we build our brand loyalty and we build our emotional connection? And so I'd like to just wrap it up there. If we've got any questions. I've got a note here, so I've just seen from Andy, 60% have. I think that is due to going back a few slides on shopping. Yes, there's definitely a lot of good stats that we can read into this. If anyone would like a copy of the data to look through, or anyone would like to have a chat, feel free to drop me an email, anastasia@retaildoctor.com.au. Happy to share all of the data and the research that we've done. And I think it's very interesting, a lot of learnings. Another couple of questions. Fantastic. Yeah, nothing else. Anything else, guys? Great to see so many people tune in. So yeah, email address again, it's anastasia@retaildoctor.com.au. Alternatively, go to our website, retaildoctor.com.au, and there's a contact us button on there that you can click. And again, more than happy to share all of our research, and also any other white papers that we've released. And look forward to you all tuning in again for any future webinars. Thanks, guys.